Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm going to sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. This one may upset some people, but it is something that you need to hear. This is tough love. Let me get a sip of my water. My radio voice going, and let's talk about this. All right, one of the biggest mistakes that people have made over and over and over. This is one of the largest, literally largest training mistakes people have made. They take someone and they make the assumption that if I see that person and I want their physique, I want to look like them, if I just go follow their exact program and training and emulate their exact form, their technique, their lifts, their reps and sets, I will develop that physique. I will look just like them. Okay? Anyone who's been training a while is laughing. It sounds logical, right? Because they clearly got there. You're identical to them. And if you just train how they did, because we're all people, you'll get the exact same identical results and you'll look like them, right? How often has that failed? 99.99% of the time. Biggest example that I think all of us know, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay? He made a lot of his workouts public. He even wrote a whole book. My whole generation grew up with that book. Arnold's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding was like the Bible. That was the lifting equivalent of the Bible. It was the gospel created by God and handed down through Arnold Schwarzenegger to the masses of under-muscled weak sinners. Dude, that thing, it was considered holy. It was considered almost holy scripture by people. Like, it was absolute truth. Fundamental truth right there, all of it. How many people followed Arnold's exact routines? Thousands and thousands of people. And not only didn't even get close, they didn't look anything like him. A lot of them still barely looked like they lifted. People say, well, how could that be? I did what he did, except that you didn't do what he did. You didn't pick Arnold's parents. You didn't get those exact crossing over of the chromatids when it selected all the genes. Didn't get his upbringing, you didn't have his work ethic, you didn't take all the stuff that he took, which would have been a lot. You didn't do all that. And even then people say, oh, if I just took the stuff. No, that wouldn't have even done it, guys. People say, what do you mean? Well, and I want to be clear here. A lot of Arnold's training has been, most experts who really studied muscle growth and lab would say he got a lot of stuff kind of wrong. He really got a lot of stuff wrong. People say, what do you mean? Excessive, ridiculous volumes of training. The guy was lifting for 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, doing 2 a day most of the time. Okay? Absurdly high volumes. And even Arnold, and before someone says, how dare you? Well, he got results. Then why did he say later, as a much older man, in retrospect, I really overtrained. I almost feel like had I trained a lot less, I might have been even better. Do you guys remember him saying that? I do. So even he admits that. So we need to be clear. If you believe that he knows anything about what he's talking about, by his own admission, that part is true. Okay? We're going to deny that. His form was often really bad. A lot of movements. Form was often really bad. A lot of really sloppy exercises. Too much volume. All this stuff, right? So then people say, well, how did he get results? Okay, let's look at the list. Number one, the genetics. If anyone does not understand how gifted the guy was for gaining muscle, proportions, insertions, again, shoulder structure, muscle insertions, waist size. Look at pictures of him even as a young lifter, as a teenager. Do most people realize the average gym goer, guys who've been training hard for 10 years, don't look as good as he did at like age 16 or 17? Do we understand this? Are we all clear? At 16, 17 years old, he had a physique dramatically better than most guys who've been working out for 9 or 10 years. Already. He couldn't have learned that much about how to lift. He didn't have enough time to grow that much. He had a better physique than guys I know who've been using stuff for years and years. Still better physique. on average. Like, he just had better average on physique than the average guy who's doing that. He just did. Genetics. Okay. He obviously used a lot of stuff, and he was honest about that and admitted it later. He was very open about it because it wasn't illegal back then. Okay, so you have that, right? Throw that factor in. And then the other thing, you combine those two things, you got amazing genetics for it, and you got magical supplements. We don't need to say what they are. We all know what I mean by magical supplements, not stuff you buy at the GNC. And then he trained really, 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 really hard. We need to be clear here. That's your combination that produces professional bodybuilders and amazing physiques. Great genetics, lots and lots of special supplements, and training really, really hard. That's kind of a winning combination, isn't it? So people say, so that's his routine. Forget all the other stuff. There's his routine. You gonna pull that off? Of course not. So that's the problem. When you see the influencer, you've got to even step back and look at the genetics first. And this is why I say to people, you need to understand how training works, and you need to know how to train correctly for people who are not just amazingly gifted with all these advantages. Okay? Otherwise, because before long, what's going to happen? You're going to say, aha, I read this book by a guy who made $1 billion telling me how to get rich. It'd be cool if he started from nothing, but then you look and he had all these advantages in life that you don't have. And maybe even his mindset itself might be part of it. You know, but so you're competing with that. You know, oh, my dad gave me, $500,000 startup capital. Well, that's a hell of a jump start. There you go. There's one of your tips right there, man. If you want to get really rich, get $500,000, $1 million from your dad, and then use that and invest it wisely. Dude, that works. That has a high success rate, just like the genetics. So some of us girls will do the same thing. They see this influencer. This is what she did to get those amazing glutes. Might want to figure out what her glutes and booty looked like before she started training. Because if she's didn't get there by even doing, probably did have really great genetics for that. But is she doing a bunch of deep, heavy squats, deep leg presses, Romanian deadlifts, reverse hypers, all that stuff? Is that what she's doing? She's doing those things, okay. But if she's doing a bunch of ineffective, silly stuff, and you were not blessed with the God-given booty that she had, do you see the problem? And there's the other issue. A lot of your social media influencers actually don't know that much about training. Okay, what they know about is how to pick their parents, picking the right parents, and being real handy with a needle. Get you pretty far as far as having an impressive physique, and even more so if you can get your diet really super strict, because that's the other thing too. You go back and look at someone like Arnold. He was crazy strict on his dieting. Okay. All these people who are talking about, oh, I want to fit my macros. Oh, I've got to have this junk food working every day into my calories. No, that dude had discipline. He didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. There was no junk. There was no junk. There was no, I'm going to work some treats in. That's not how he got that physique. He was rigorous with his diet on top of it. That's kind of a big advantage. If you're a person who, compared to some of these influencers, guys who their whole life revolves around it, they're that disciplined with their food, you might want to skip out on that whole flexible dieting thing. Just saying. But there's the thing. That's what it comes down to. Their routine may not even be that good. Oftentimes, some of them have routines that objectively, and forms and exercise selection and volumes that are objectively below average. They're bad. A lot of them are. They really don't know what they're doing, but they don't have to as long as they just train hard enough and they ride those genes that mommy and daddy gave them. Okay? That is not where you need to be figuring out how to train. If they don't coach people who are average and get amazing results, then they're a bad source of information. And I've seen it countless times. How many pro bodybuilders, people with pro cards, men and women, have you seen whose clients don't even look like they lift? I've been watching it for 25 years. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.